The year that was for Toronto Fire turned out to be challenge after challenge after challenge, and that includes the massive blaze that happened here at York Memorial Collegiate Institute that gutted this heritage building and left an entire student body having to relocate. Then there was the more recent incident at a high-rise building in northwest Toronto that ended up leaving one person dead and everyone in that building displaced. And that has raised a lot of questions about Toronto's fire services and whether or not they're capable of handling circumstances like this.
Our crews had a lot of tests this year. It's which isn't, I wouldn't say abnormal. This is a big city that never sleeps, but there were certainly some trying situations for sure.
6 alarms, 150 firefighters, an overwhelming flames and smoke as far as the eye could see. That was the scenario Toronto Fire faced last May at York Memorial. The biggest challenge the service has faced in at least a couple of years. How difficult was it an operation for you?
6 alarms is as large an incident as we pre-script. I'm not sure that I've seen anything more complicated from the standpoint of smoke management. It was a daunting task for not only for our folks but for paramedics and police.
The results of the Ontario Fire Marshal's initial investigation were released in August and determined the fire was accidental. No word on how Toronto Fire handled the incident, and at the time, the fire chief offered no comment. Now, at this point, can you say, here's what we did or did not do, or here's what we've determined?
No, our process really gets locked down at the point where any party indicates, or even gives an early indication that there may be some legal process, which is the case here.
1 month ago, a 5-alarm fire at a 16-story building on Gosford Boulevard killed a man stuck in an apartment on the 8th floor. Firefighters were said to have been battling the blaze from the inside, going door to door with little visibility, and didn't get there in time. Going into that situation, what were your crews dealing with?
Gosford was tragic, as any time in the city that we have an incident that results in a critical injury or the loss of life to one of our residents, that's something I feel.
Are you satisfied that you were there in the amount of time that you needed to be?
Yeah, you're right. That's a standard investigation element for any, whether it's fatal or critical injury or just a major fire. The provincial fire investigators look specifically at all aspects of that. Am I confident? I'm absolutely confident. I was there very quickly that night myself, and I can tell you that the amount of effort and the amount of care that the women and men that were there employed to protect and save lives that night was nothing less than extraordinary, and I'm proud of every one of them.
And yet, as the city grows, Toronto's fire service continues to identify more high-rises going up, continue to be a challenge and a concern.
We have a lot of work and a number of initiatives underway that are aiming specifically at high-rise response, but also just looking at our entire, what we call our deployment model.
New specialized high-density aerial equipment is said to be in the works, while an entire organizational overhaul is taking place. A tall task for a chief who's been in the role now for a few years.
Undoubtedly, it is going to be a real challenge for us to keep pace with the growth that is happening and is coming, and without any doubt, we will in time require additional resources and potentially the redeployment or the relocation of existing resources to meet those needs.
Chief Pegg guarded in his assessment of what happened here at York Memorial and on Gosford Boulevard. Looking forward, an admission of sorts that while resources are okay at this point, that more will be needed for Toronto Fire as the city continues to grow. All the more reason to look closely at City Hall to make sure that the men and the women that are fighting these fires, literally on the front lines, get what they need in the future.